All right. So, good morning once again. Okay. Good morning once again. How are we all doing? And okay, I think I've asked before. I trust we are all doing fine. So, let's start. Today we are going to be talking about pivot table and data visualization with Microsoft Excel. Okay. Good morning, Tony. So this morning we'll be talking about pivot tables and data visualization on Microsoft Excel. The class won't take long actually. It won't. So does anyone know about pivot table? If you know about pivot table, can you just type or send a message to the chat box or unmute yourself? Anyone? Okay, I think because of time, we should continue. Or let me check if someone is typing. If you don't know about pivot table, you can just say you don't know about it so I will know that we are together. I'm waiting. Please, are we together? Okay, thank you, Monyoluwa. I need more responses, maybe two more, just for me to know that okay, we are together in the class.
Yes.
Okay, one more person. All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so moving on, I think quite a number of us. You did not hear. Okay, I asked if you know what pivot table is. Pivot table, PIVOT, pivot table. But I think most of us don't know what pivot table is. We don't know about pivot table. So let's just start. Okay, pivot table is a tool that is used to summarize, to analyze, to explore, and to present data using Microsoft Excel here because it's a tool that when you have this data set, you can use pivot table to summarize everything. In that, maybe you want to summarize the gender and quantity. You want to know how many females are there. Let me just start by maybe you want to know how many females and how many males are there, right? You can use pivot table. It's a very easy way to summarize this. And if you want to know the quantity bought by all females and quantity bought by males. Just to summarize these two, right? You can use your pivot table. Pivot table is a tool that is used to summarize, right? You can even use pivot table to get maybe the average of the age of maybe the females and the males. It's going to come up like clearly. It will just summarize everything. Okay, maybe males, the average age of male is maybe 100 or 20 or 50, then that of female is this. And even this price, if you want to summarize this payment method, credit card, we have credit card. Okay, let me just convert it to table. Okay, we'll convert everything to table. Okay, so I want to see this. You can see we have cash, we have credit card, we have debit card. So if you want to know maybe how many what quantity, right, or the total quantity that was bought using credit card or the total quantity bought using cash or using debit card, you can use your pivot table. So basically, one of pivot table is used to summarize, and also it is also used to analyze in the sense that when you summarize it, like the format that presents pivot table will present your data. It will help you to analyze your data in the sense that it will show you, okay, this is what is low, this is what is high, this is what needs maybe more hands, this is what it will help you analyze your data, right? Then it is also used to explore your data. It's also used there's something we call data exploration. When you want to analyze a data set, is there's a step you take. There's one of the steps, exploratory data analysis. In that way, you just explore your data, you just check through. Oh, you're not seeing my screen. Oh wow. Okay, 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 okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. How about now? I hope you can see the screen now. All right. Okay. Thank you. So this is not showing yet. Please okay, just now. Okay, Nofisat, is it showing already? It is not clear. Okay, 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 okay. I think we can move on. I think we can move on. All right. The problem is not from my end actually, if it's not clear. All right. So we have these payment options, payment method. We have cash, credit card, debit card, and then if you want to know the maybe the total number of people that bought using cash, total number of people that bought using credit card and debit card, you can use your pivot table, right? Okay. Then you can explore, can just explore your data. That okay, let me just know let me just know the maybe the category that has the highest amount of sales. You can't see it. Please, is she the only one or it is general? Can everyone see my screen, please? You can't see it. Oh wow. Let me stop presenting.
Yeah, no, we can actually like see it. Some of us can see it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let
some
me
of us can see it.
let me present again.
I still can't see your screen. Oh.
I just want to start presenting again. So how about now?
Okay, it's showing now.
All right, okay. So I think we can move on. I was trying to explain that we can use pivot table to we can use pivot table to analyze, then to explore your data. And also you can use it to present your data, because when you present your data in a pivot table format, it's going to it's going to show explicitly what your data is about. It's going to it will present your data, right? It will show your data in a way that it will be easy for stakeholders to understand. All right. So importance of pivot tables. Importance. The very first thing I have here is that it helps. It is used for quick summarization of large data sets. Okay, this data set has 1,000 that's 1,001 rows, right? And 1,000 inputs, 1,000 unique figures of 1,000 inputs here. So that 1,000, you can now actually present this to your stakeholders. Okay, okay, this person with this invoice number has is a female and is 28 years old. This person is a male and has is 21 years. If you present 1,000 rows to them, to your stakeholders, they will tell you that you're not serious, right? Because they don't have the time to start checking through 1,000 rows. But then pivot table will help to summarize large data sets. Another thing is flexible analysis. It is very flexible in the sense that you can you can edit your rows, you can edit your columns. Okay, maybe you were checking for gender before, and then you were checking for gender, and then maybe you just feel okay, let me just check what payment method is. Instead of creating another pivot table, you can actually edit it. Okay, remove gender and then add payment method. Let me just do something. Let me just do something to explain so we can quickly understand. Okay, let me use gender. Let me put gender under rows, then um price or quantity here. All right, I'll still explain all this, but then just for you to Okay, see what I was saying now. From here, we know that all females, the females, but the total quantity of females, that's 1,810, while that of male is 1,210. Can you see that it is very easy to present, right? And it's quickly summarized our 1,000 rules. And um flexible analysis in the sense that okay, we don't want to check our gender, let's just check maybe category, right? Okay, can see that okay, books are this quantity, clothing has this quantity. So that's another importance of pivot table. So another thing is pivot table. It is using pivot table, it is easy to reorganize your data without altering the original data set, in the sense that okay, maybe you can reorganize this. Maybe you can use your sort, you can sort it A to Z, you can sort Z to A, you can just maybe put this clothing on top or put something on top. You can just this one, anything you do here, it won't affect your original data set, right? So that's another importance of pivot table. And also it allows for insightful data summaries with minimal effort. Can you see that we just created this pivot table in less than a minute? The effort we used was just, we did not really use, with the effort that we used to create this was actually minimal. But then if you want to do it maybe another way or the normal way, if you are starting, maybe if you want to count everything, right, it's going to take in a lot of effort. But then pivot table helps us do this. It helps us to get insights from our data with minimal effort. So yeah, that's it. Let's um check how to create a pivot table. Let me delete this. Okay, please, are we together?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I think we can take attendance now. We can take our attendance now. So please, I'll just give a minute for this. Just enter my DM and say you are present, like I am present. Attendance one, I am present. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 8 people here. So I want to see 8 DMs in 1 minute time. By 11:20. By 11:20, we'll continue. Okay, it's 11:20 already. By 11:21, we'll continue. Okay, someone just joined. Please, can you just quickly mark your attendance? Just I am present, yes, and your name too. If you Your name, please add your name. Add your name so I'll be able to add it to the list of. I'll be able to recognize it. Okay, just your name. I am present. Then your name. Okay, I think I have seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I have 5 people here. Four. I think there should be 4 more people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, okay. All right. So let's move on. Now I want to let's talk about how to create a pivot table, right? So pivot table is a type of table, and where you can find your table is in your insert tab. So let's click on insert tab, then pivot table. Pivot table, you see it here, it is actually the first thing here. So pivot table. Then are we together?
Yes,
I'll
ma.
send okay. I'll send the slide because I don't know. I'll send the slide I'm using to the group. Okay, so this is after you've clicked on your pivot table from your insert tab, then it is asking you that table slash range. So which table, which data set do you want to use for your pivot table? Do you want to insert in your pivot table? So you just go to sheet one, right? Go to sheet one and control A, just click press Control A, that's to select everything here. So okay, so that's a very easy, that's the easy way to create a pivot table. Let me delete this and do it again. I want to delete this whole sheet. All right, so first thing, you can decide to create a new sheet, but it's advisable to create a new sheet. If you don't create a new sheet, Excel will it will give you an option whether to create a new sheet for you, right? Okay, so let's start again. Let me create a new sheet, then let me name it. Let me just leave it like this. So let me name it. All right, so insert, then pivot table, then table slash range. Go to your sheet one, then Control A, right? So now it is asking that choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. Is it in a new worksheet or in an existing worksheet? We are going to pick existing because we've created the worksheet for it, right? But if you want it to be created in a new worksheet, you click on a new worksheet. So it will create another sheet. This, it will be most likely sheet 4. So it's going to create the pivot table in that sheet, but then we want an existing worksheet. So okay, so this is basically like the skeleton of our pivot table. Okay, so the let's now explain the key components of a pivot table. Key components of a pivot table. Okay, the very first thing is rows. Rows. This is our row. We have our rows here, right? So what the row is for is just to define your rows, the rows that you want to see in your pivot table, right? So we can see that rows are like this. Rows are horizontal, right? So we have your row 1 can be something, row 2 can be another thing, row 3 can be your row 3, whatever you want to be in your row, you just put it here. Let's assume we want our gender to be in our row, to be our row. So you can see that the row here, the second row, row 2 here now is, or the first row in your pivot table shows the female, that's one input for the gender. The second one is male, that's another input for the gender. So that's how our pivots, that's how rows work. And columns too is basically the same thing, just that this one works, columns is for columns, right? It's for the vertical, like it's going to show your inputs here, then here, then here, then here, then here. But rows will just show it in rows horizontally, right? Okay, so let me just move this one to columns. So you can see that we have our female here, then we have our male here. So whatever you want it to show is going to show here. It's going to show down, like okay, to show maybe female. If you want to know the number of female that you have, it will show here. Then for male, it will show in this place. All right. So another component we have is our values. That values, I prefer this to be in the rows. Okay. Values is just the data you want to aggregate, is the data you want to aggregate. Okay, let's say we want to aggregate maybe quantity, right? We want to aggregate our quantity. That means we want to sum all the whole quantity that the females bought, right? All the quantity that the females bought. So that's our values. So that means our value will be our quantity. So you can see here that it's already aggregated what we put in here as our value. So the female add this and the male add this. Do we get? So that's how values work. Yes, another thing is filter. You can use this filter. Filter works just like the filter here, right? It works just like filter. So if you want it to show maybe only, let me just put, let me put category here. Okay, so if you want to filter it by category, let's filter it. Let's just say we want for only, you select multiple items. We want for only clothing and books, right? Let's filter for only, so now for only clothing and books, females bought 629 626 items, while males bought 469 items. So that's what our filter is used for. So these are the main components of our pivot table. Okay, now we also have other things. We have pivot table options, right? Okay. Okay, this one, I'll first explain the options that have to do with the values. Please, are we following? Do we understand? Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you. At any point that you don't understand, please you can just let me know, just to draw me back. All right. So the first option I want to talk about is the one that has to do with the values, right? So you can see that what this thing just did for us when we put our quantity here was I just brought up the sum of quantity, right? So what if we don't want to know this? What if it's not the sum of quantity we're interested in? What if we want to know maybe the average quantity that females bought and the average quantity that males bought, right? So you just click on this sum of quantity, right? So you go to your value field settings. Okay, you let me do it again. You click on sum of quantity, then value field setting. So now see different things that you can use to summarize your data. You can either use sum, average, count, minimum, maximum, and products. Then we have others here. Um, Count of number, standard deviation of population, variance, and variance of population. Right? Okay. So let's assume we want to know the count. Maybe we want to know the number. We just want to know um the number of males and number of females. Okay. So you can see that it's just showed it as a count. I know I said that our total is 1,000, right? So this is it. You can see that this is very correct. Okay. Another way you can do this is you right click on this count, the column for count. Just right click it, right? So you can see summarize values by, let's say we want average. So on a average, the average is for males, the average amount that females bought is basically 3. Okay. All right. The average amount that females bought is approximately 3, and while that of males is approximately, so each female on the average they bought 3 items, right? So same thing for males too. So what if we want to check it as summarize values by maybe the maximum, right? So the maximum of quantities that female bought, like out of all the females, some bought 1, some bought 2, some bought 3, some 4, some 5. So the maximum is 5, right? So you can also check, can use it as maybe minimum too. The minimum will most likely be 1, right? Okay. Now let's just check our sum. Let's go back to sum. Okay, so another thing is you can show your data as different things, right? Your output. You can show it as percentage, you can show it in percentage, right? Maybe the females had but the percent is maybe something percent and the males will be something percent, then this will be 100%, right? So you can also use the long method, click on values, then value field settings, then show values as, right? Okay, so a very fast way to do this is just to right click this, then show values as, we want the percentage of grand, let's say, okay, oh sorry, should be percentage of, show values as percentage of column total, right? Okay, so this is our, we showed this thing as the values as the percentage of the total of our column, right? Can you see that this column, the total is 100%, like everything is 100%. So you can see that the females add 59.93, then the males add 40.07. So this is just a simple way to present your data. If you present your data to your stakeholders like this, they will understand that okay, the quantities sold, right? Females bought more quantities than the males. Okay. Another thing you can do is you can sort, you can filter using this filter button beside. So this is the sort. So this is also the filter. You can filter maybe if you want only male or female. Okay. And filtering, you can also use this filter here for your to filter, right? Okay. Let's just explore the sort. Sort Z to A. So it's brought male first and female, then sort A to Z. All right. So You can also you can move mail if you want to. Maybe you have 10 this thing here, you have 10 inputs here, right? So if you want to move one up, you can just right click the one you want to move, then you see move here. So you can move it up to the beginning, and yeah, so that's another thing. Okay. All right, so that's all about pivot table. Let's just create another pivot table for the sake of those that are just joining the class. Okay, let's go over the step again. So insert pivot table, then go to your for the table slash range, go to your sheet 1, then control A. Okay, so this is our pivot table. If you want to know the total price, right, the total sales we got from each category, so let's just go sales or price. The price will be under the values, then um category, yes, category should be here. And if you want it to show, if you want to put it under columns, right, this is it here, but it is easier to view here like this. So we have books. Okay, books, we had 2,257 points this. So with this, you can easily know the category that had the highest number of sales, the highest amount of sales, and those that have the least. From here, it is obvious that it is clothings. Wow, people like clothes too much. And book, is it book? Okay, and souvenir. Okay, I think it is souvenir that is the okay. Souvenir has the okay, we can sort it here. Sort smallest, largest to smallest. Alright, so we can see here that clothing has the highest while souvenir has the lowest. What I just did was that I clicked this anything here under this value, right? I right clicked it, then sort. You can either sort smallest to largest or largest to smallest. So I sorted it largest to smallest. So clothing, then souvenir. Wow, that means a lot of people buy clothes, right? Then few people, or from the data set we are working with, right? Most people got clothes, while very few people got souvenir. Okay, so that's it about pivot table. And then you can have multiple rows, right? You can have multiple columns too. You can have multiple values. Okay, let's say we want to know the price and the quantity, right? Can see can have you see our quantity here. Okay, for clothing, they had this amount of sales, they got this price, this amount from the clothing, from the sales of clothing, right? And then this is the sum of the quantity. Okay, they got 946 clothes, right? Same thing for others. Okay, we can also put in this category. This category can come in here, so it will just show it as a count, right? Okay, so you can see it, count of category. Can you see? Clothing, we have 320 inputs, right? The reason why this count is more than this quantity is that some people bought more than one, some bought two, some bought three, and some bought four. Do you get? So that's why, okay, for each person we had 320, but each quantity of clothes bought is 946. Okay, so let's move on to data visualization now. Introduction to data visualization. We are talking about pivot tables and data visualization. Please, before we move on, do we understand pivot table very well?
Please, your screen is not showing. No.
Since when?
I just rejoined actually.
Okay, okay, Moyoluwa. Please, can anyone else see my screen? Is it from my end or is from everyone?
I can see it from my side, ma.
Okay, okay. I think it is from your end.
I can also see.
So can I.
you can see it. Okay, I think what I will do is that I will, like, you can't see the screen too. Tried rejoining many times. Okay, let me stop sharing, right? Okay, let me stop sharing and share again. Okay. How about now? Tosin and Nofisat.
Yes, I can see it now. Thank you.
Okay, okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, I
What of
can see it
Nofisat?
now.
Alright, alright. So I
I
hope you
can
did not
see it
miss
now.
too much. Do you understand pivot tables and how we can work with pivot tables? Tosin and Nofisat.
Yes, I do.
Okay. What I did here that I feel you might not have seen was that I added different things to this value field, right? I added price to it. I added because we were showing the price, so I want to show the quantity too. I want this pivot table to show the quantity too. So I just added. Let me just uncheck it and uncheck this. So I just brought. Okay, category should be here. So the price, let's select price, showing in under values, then bring your quantity here also. So it's showing, can you see that the price is showing here, then the quantity is showing here. And also if you want to know the count of your of the count, right, not only the quantity, maybe how many people, right, how many people came for books. So you can just check your, you can use your category, right, and then you can actually use any other thing, and you bring in your category here, then count of category. So this is how it is. You can rename this, and maybe use some alone. If you are not fine with it, then so you can use maybe count, anything you want to use. You can actually rename it. Then this row label, you can rename it too, right? I just use maybe categories. Okay. So okay, I think they used category here. So let me just go with category. Okay, so that's basically how pivot table works. So I want us to um do something. I want us to explore this data set, right? We have different things that we can use pivot table for. You check your payment options, maybe those that used card the most, those that used cash the most. Just check it. You can even get insights that okay, maybe males prefer to pay with card and maybe females prefer to pay with cash. Just check through, right? And then you can also use date too. Yes, you can just check for, let me quickly do something with date. Okay, insert pivot table, then control A. I explained something about this quick tool access bar, right? So I use pivot tables a lot, right? I use it a lot. So that's why my pivot table is here. So I already saved it here. I explained this in the second class. So instead of going through the options or going through the stress of go to home, pivot table, this, I can just easily select it here. Okay. So let's just go with our date. Invoice date should be here. Then maybe price. Let me put price here. So 2021 add this. Okay, since we've put in our date here, it is going to create column for months, quarter, years. We are interested in only the years. So let's just check and see that 2021 we had this, we made this amount of money, right? This 2022 we made this amount of money, then 2023 we made this amount of money. Okay. All right, so that's how it is. Then visualization now, data visualization will soon be done with the class. All right, can anybody just tell me what you think data visualization is from the name data visualization? Anyone? I Let me check for, okay, Abdul Fatai. Ayobami, you just joined the class. So we want to hear from you. What do you think data visualization is? Please unmute your mic and just what you think data visualization is. Just let us know. We are waiting for you. Okay, I guess he's not actively following the class. Um, Let me check for someone else. Okay, Oladeni
Good
Folashayo.
afternoon, ma.
Okay, hi Abdul. So what is data visualization?
No, data visualization um, is like an approach
Okay,
to like data management that I think it allows an application to retrieve and manipulate data without requirement technical details.
okay, data visualization. Thank you. All right, so Oladeni Folashayo, please can we hear from you? What do you think data visualization is?
Well, to my own understanding, ma, I think it's like a way of creating a graphical representation.
Okay,
Like you have to be able to like have a better understanding, then analyze so
okay,
as to come up with a very good information
okay. Thank you very much.
in terms of
Thank
charts, graphs, maybe maps, something.
Thank you very much for Lashayo, and thank you very much Ayobami. So, okay, you spoke well, right? So, data visualization is basically like is the graphical representation of data, right? Is basically the graphical representation of data to identify. You can use it to identify patterns, trends, and even outliers. I talked about outliers in the last class. Our time is running. I would have loved to ask someone. But then outliers, we have outliers as something that maybe a value that is not within the range, right, of the data set or within the range of others. Like maybe you have one as the maybe one as 20, 30, 40, and then you are seeing another something else. Maybe everything is within the range of 10 to 40, and there is one unique value that is showing maybe 10,000. That is an outlier. So most likely it might be an error. So you can use data visualization to detect outliers too. Because maybe if you are checking a bar chart now, and then you are seeing maybe everything they have small bars, and then one is unnecessarily too long. Or if you are using a line chart now, line chart is okay. Let me check if I can present this as a line chart. Okay. Um. Okay. You can see this is a line chart. I will still explain this, but then I want us to get what data visualization is, right? You can see that okay, this is 2021. We had this sales. This is not showing the data label, right? But with this, we can easily say, okay, the sales in 2023 came down, right? We can easily say, okay, 2021 and 2022, it increased, but it just increased slightly, right? So if you're having something of this, you can know that okay, something happened, there was something wrong in 2023, or the data set for 2023 is not complete, right? Most likely the data will not be complete because I brought out just 1,000 out of about 10,000 data sets. So but let's assume this is how your client gave you, you know that okay, what happened in 2023? Can you see that we just this data visualization, we already know what we already know that something went wrong here. So it helps us to know an outlier too. If there is an outlier with this, you easily know that okay, there's an outlier in our data set, right? So it helps us to make complex data very easy to understand by using graphs, by using charts for easy interpretation, right? It helps you to interpret your data easily in a easier way, and it also helps you to present your data in a very visually appealing way. Can you see that this one, we actually did not, we don't know the exact value of this 2022, but then we know that okay, 2022 was a bit higher than 2021, right? You can input, you can add your data label to it if you want to. Okay, so that's how data visualization, that's what data visualization is. So we have different types of charts in in Microsoft Excel. We have bar charts, we have line charts, we have pie charts, scattered plots, area charts, funnel charts, tree map, and all. You can just check them here and check them here. These are charts that we have. These are various types of charts we have. Under insert, then you see charts here. You see, just check on this recommended chart and just see. You can see we have column, line, pie, bar, and all. Okay, so you can see that these are our line charts too. We have different formats, right? You can see this, you can see this, you can see this, you can see this. But then let's just go for this because this is easier to understand and I like it. Okay, so how to create visualization, right? Go to your insert tab and then you the first thing you will do is you highlight the data you want to. Let me cut this cut. Okay, let's say this pivot table, you want to show it in, or this one. Okay, let's use this male and female. We want to show it in maybe pie chart, right? Okay, so this you can just, your insert tab, you should highlight your data, but since it is pivot table, you can just select something in the pivot table. But if you are going to use this, something as large as this, you highlight it. I love visualizing something when it is in pivot table format, right? Most times actually. So you just click on this, then recommended chart, or since you know what we want, let's just go for pie chart. Then we have pie charts, we have donut charts. This is donut chart, this is pie chart, right? So let's use donut chart. So you can see the male is orange while the female is green, is blue rather. Okay, so this is how to do your data visualization, right? So what we'll just do is you can edit your visuals, right? You can see, you can edit your visuals here. Okay, there's something we call data label. Let's go to design. Under your, you can see that when you created your charts, you see pivot chart tools here. So just go to design, add chart elements, right? If you want to add your chart title, you can add it maybe above charts, right? Can you see that maybe, okay, let's say quantity bought by each gender, by gender. Okay, so this is our chart title, right? Okay, quantity bought by gender. So other things, you can add your data label. Can you see? This is our data label is just the value, right? Of the value of each bars or each slices. We call it slices in anything, this circular pie chart, donut chart. So you can see that okay, male add this while female add this. That's our data label. Then legend is this thing here, right? This is our legend here. So anywhere you want it to show, and if you don't want it at all, if you want it to show at the right, if you want it to show at the top, left, but I think it is okay where it is, right? So these are various things you can do to edit um your your chart, right? So you can also click this thing, it shows different themes, right? It's also here on top. Then this plus two, just check if you want to add some things, add or remove. Okay, let me do something else for this. Let me create a pivot chart for this one. Insert, then let me just create a stacked column. Okay, let me use this. Um, can you see? It is actually showing the sum of these three, but then it can't show the ones that are very little because it is just one axis it is using. So let's just remove this. Let's remove this and right click remove. So let's just check for the sum of everything here. Okay, let me make this chart bigger so it will show it better. Okay. Okay, so I made the chart bigger. Can you see that we've seen, okay, this is very small. This is okay.
Ma,
Someone
I
is
can't
using
see
and
your screen here.
you can't see my screen. Please, is it everybody?
Yes, ma.
I can see your screen, ma.
You can see my screen. Oh, I don't know. It will be from your end. Okay, you can see it. So this is how this is how our pivot our data visualization works actually. So we have the data set, right? We have the data set. So please explore various visualization options. Can just if you want to do it directly, right? This gender, you click on it, right? Then press control and maybe quantity. Can use then you go to your insert and then create your whatever chart, right? Okay. So yes, so that is it if you want to do it directly. But then preferably is easier, is better to I prefer to work with pivot table to aggregate my data and then do my do my data visualization. So that is it. So there are some things you should note. Keep your chart simple and clean. Whenever you are doing charts, don't cluster it too much, right? Can you see that the one I did, I put the first one I did that was three, sum, count, and all. It was not actually giving, right? Okay, then use consistent colors and fonts. Don't use blue and white here, then switch to green and red in another chart. Or use green, blue, purple, orange. It will not look nice, right? Then don't overload charts with too much data. Can see that okay, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is still fair, but don't maybe like you have 20 now, you're not using this chart. Don't overload your chart so it will be easier to see, right? Okay. Then make sure your labels and legend. This is our legend. Then our label, let me right click, then add data label. So this is our label. Make sure it is clear and make sure your label and legend, right? Make sure they are clear. Then use only the right chart for your data. I'll send a file to the group. I explained what each different chart, though it works for is for Power BI, but then it works for Excel too. The types of what you should use for each chart. We have different types of charts on Excel, right? You can see it here. Different types, area, map, tree, and all. So the file, right? The document will explain what each why how you should use each of them. Then use only clean data. That's the last thing I want to say. Make sure your data is clean before you do your visualization, because if your data is not clean, it's whatever you give Excel to do that it will do. So that's one. That's what I have to say. And those are the tips you should take note of when you are working with data visualization. All right, our time is fast spent. Does anyone have questions for me? Okay, this is 11:56. Let's just take a second attendance because some people joined late. Just enter my DM if you are not typing questions, right? Enter my DM and tell me you are present. Attendance 2. Just attendance 2. I am present. And please, if you have questions, the floor is still very much open. And make sure you explore this data set, right? And create as much as possible, as many charts as possible. Create as many charts as you can and then explore the edit this, just right click, right? Then explore everything here. We'll do more of visualization in the next class. So please make sure you take your attendance, and if there is any question for me, make sure you are typing, because in 1 minute time, if there is no question, we'll end the class. Okay. All right, Tosin, you can,
Please, I have a question.
sure, you can ask.
So my question is this: from this data set, how
Okay.
are we to know the particular data we are to analyze? Let me take for instance now, if you want to analyze this particular data set, we have the invoice number and the
Yes,
customer. So now
yes.
if I want to analyze this data according to each particular customer or something, am I to use the invoice or the customer? I don't know the particular data to analyze here. I don't know if you get my
Okay.
question.
You can see that we have this call we end in 2 minutes time. All right, so we have invoice number. You cannot actually use this invoice number for your analysis in that sense because the values are too many, right? And each person have a specific invoice number, then customer ID. But then you can explore this gender, right? You can explore age. You can explore maybe the age of, maybe you can add age to age and clothing, right? This one for this quantity, for this value, you can put in your age there. You can just explore anything in the data set, right? Anything actually, anything you feel you can analyze. Actually, almost everything here you can analyze them, right? Except this invoice number and customer ID. You can just use those two for references. But then this age too, you can just explore. You can decide to check maybe the average of the age of females, average age of males that bought something. Then even this price too, maybe the age, you can sort your age. Okay, we'll do that in the next class actually. So this quantity too, you can just check maybe the people that bought, maybe those that are buying with credit card, the average of quantity they bought, those that are buying with debit card. You can just do anything, even this date too, right? You can sort it according to, you can use months. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, it is going to show, okay, this particular, around January more people bought, around February this amount of people bought. So you can just work with anything. So far you think you can analyze it, you can. I hope I've answered your question,
Okay.
Tosin.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So I think with this, we've come to the end of the class. Thank you everyone for joining. And in case you have more questions,
I
you can.
have a question.
Ma?
I have a question, ma.
Okay, if you
If you
can
are
be very
working for a
fast.
client and the client just gave us this type of data to analyze, will the client tell us what and what to analyze, or we will
Yes,
be the one to
yes, yes. They
examine
will
that
tell you.
information?
They will tell you. Most of the times they will have questions. Though sometimes you'll be the one to like, okay, maybe if you're working on personal project, you can just, okay, create a dashboard. We'll do that in the next class. But sometimes they can have questions, they'll ask you, they'll give you data sets, then they will ask you questions that, okay, answer these questions from my data. Do you get? And then you can always use your pivot table. Maybe they want to know the amount of females that bought. Do you get? And if they need recommendations, right? But most sometimes they'll tell you, sometimes they will ask you questions. So from the questions, you use your intuition to know, okay, this is what I'm working with, this is what I'm not working with, right? Sometimes they can ask you that, which category do you think we can improve on? So with that, you know that, okay, you check your category, then you check your maybe sales you got from each categories. Then you tell them that, okay, this shoes, or you got this particular from clothing, you had a very high, so you can invest more in clothing, right? I don't know if I'm answering your question.
That
Nofisat.
question, ma.
Eh?
Yeah, you've answered the
Okay,
question.
so that's it. Any other one? Okay, so with this, we've come to the end of the class. Please, just if you are stuck anywhere, you can always reach out to me for help, right? But then this data set is for you. Just sit as your data set and then work on it, do whatever you think you can do to analyze it, and then create as many pivot tables, create as many charts as you can. So I'll send the file I promised now. So thank you everyone for joining. Bye. Do well to have a enjoy the rest of your day.